The internet has changed a lot of ways we do things, and one of the ways that it's changed things we do now is how we go shopping. Remember when eBay first came around, it was very popular. I think it still is popular today, but obviously one of the sites that's even more popular than eBay, at least I believe, is Craigslist. And in talking to some parishioners, I know some parishioners only shop on Craigslist. And I was talking to one, and he was looking over and over and over again for a boat, a specific boat. And he searched for month upon month, and he finally found it. And he found this boat, and there's joy in that, but the only problem was it was in Georgia. But sure enough, he went all the way to Georgia to get that boat. So I'm just like, whatever floats your boat, I guess, right? There we go. There's supposed to be the joke of the homily. Alrighty then. But I'm talking about Craigslist. Of course, there's a great parable with that as well in our gospel today. Let's say for some reason you desire a 1928 Singer sewing machine. Why? Because you know that sewing machine, I've never sewn my whole life. I'm just making this all up, all right? I have no idea how to sew. But maybe that machine, that 1928 model, is the best one out there, and it makes the best pattern, and you can just do things with it you've never imagined with the sewing machine. So what do? You go on Craigslist maybe or whatever, and you search. But you are very, very, very particular. Just not any 1928 machine's not going to do it. It has to be in mint condition. And you're a collector of sewing machines, 17, 18 of them. But all of a sudden, you finally find the one you're looking for. You find it. It's in mint condition. The price is right, but there's only one problem. You know that if you get another sewing machine, your spouse is literally going to flip out, saying, we cannot have another sewing machine in here. And so in order to take this sewing machine in, this 1928 Singer sewing, doesn't that sound nice, right? 1928 Singer sewing machine. You're going to be looking at Craigslist tonight for that, I'm sure, right? But you search, and you find it. But to get it, you have to do what? You have to give up other things. But you finally have it. It's in your possession. And now all of a sudden that journey is over. You have this sewing machine of great price. That's right. You have it, and that joy finally is complete. You don't have to search anymore. Of course, in our parable, God is not talking so much about a field with a treasure. He's not talking so much about that pearl of great price. Rather, we know God is talking about what? Our faith. And when we find it, what do we have to do? Just like with that sewing machine, whatever it may be, it means we must give other things up so that we can attain this. In our faith life, what does it mean we have to give up? It means we have to give up those distractions. It means we have to give up those false gods, those things we used to worship as God but didn't truly bring us fulfillment. And then we can have this pearl of great price, and then we can be content. And then our journey is over. Somewhat. So once we have that pearl of great price, once we have our faith, then what? Then we need to let God guide us. Then we need to let God be the one who is in charge, as I've said many times, and let Him be the one who instructs us what to do. So we finally have our faith. And how do you get that? How do we have that pearl of great price? You know how it happens? It's in a conversion. We're all called to have a conversion story. Maybe you're sitting there and saying, Father, I've been Catholic my whole life. I've never converted. I was baptized when I was 2 months old. And I go, really? You were baptized when you were 2 months old and you haven't changed since then? You're talking. That's a change. Hopefully your faith is deeper now that you're, 20, 30, 40, 70 years old. So you say, okay, I got that, Father. That was my parents. But when I got confirmed, that's when I truly accepted my faith. That's when I had that experience. Really? You haven't changed since you've been a teenager at all. And maybe for some of you in confirmation, it was a great moment of conversion. Hopefully it was. That's what it's meant to be. But for some of you here, you got confirmed to the age of 7. Maybe you got confirmed at the age of 14, 16, whatever it may be. But once again, hopefully your life has changed. Hopefully in your life, you have had an experience with God where you finally got it. Yes, your mind had it way before, but your heart finally got it, and you said, I believe in God. The doubt, for the most part, has gone away, and I truly believe in Him. I've experienced Him, and I will hold on to this pearl of great price no matter what sufferings come with it, no matter how many trials may come with it. I know for me when it happened was in high school. I was very fortunate that my youth group at St. Joe's was able to go to a conference called Steubenville. Now, it's beautiful, because right now we have like 20 youth down at Steubenville right now. I was with them last night in adoration. And those 20 youth I was with last night, you could see that their hearts were on fire for God. But I know when I went on the Student Little Conference, the first year, I said, okay, God, obviously exists, but I didn't take my faith exactly the most seriously even after that. But after my second year, I had that conversion. And I said, God is the most important thing in my life. And it was time to start giving up these false gods, these distractions, these weeds, and setting them aside so I could have this pearl of great price. When I was in high school, I took football very seriously. I thought for some reason I was going to be a great player. I knew I wasn't going to be, but I thought maybe I could. So I worked really, really hard. But after those Student Little Conferences, I still played football, but it wasn't my God anymore. I didn't care if I started or not. I didn't even care if we won the state championship or not. We won it my junior year, great. My senior year, we lost. I'm like, it doesn't matter. My life is not going to be defined by my high school football career. Hopefully, I can grow out of that, right? And I did. And I had this pearl of great price. I had my faith, and I was going to hold on to that, even in the midst of trials, even in the midst of suffering. But having the pearl of great price also led me to having freedom, knowing that God was the one in charge. When we have that pearl of great price, when we have our faith, then we have this contentment. Then we have this fulfillment. We no longer need to search. We have God and He has us, and He will lead us. He will help us discern what to do in our life. We can say, God, what do you desire of me? And He will show you the way when we have our heart on fire for Him. I know as a senior in high school, the big decision time, right? It's time to figure out what college to go to. And I had no idea where I was going to go. My mom said, why don't you go check out Bemidji State University? I said, Mom, where's Bemidji? Is that in Canada? No, but it's close to it, she said, right? So sure enough, I drove up to Bemidji State, drove up to the town of Bemidji, and I saw the campus across the lake. And right there in my heart, I knew that this is where God wanted me to be. It was this sense of peace, this sense of relief. Now, of course, I went and visited the campus, but I didn't have to. I knew I was called to go there. Because on the way up there, I was praying to God, God, to show me the way. So sure enough, I applied to that one college, and praise God, I got in, right? If not, that could have been a lot of trouble. But in order to do this, right, I had to go up there, and I did this. And I went there for a year, but once again, I kept on hearing God saying, Alex, this is where I wanted you this year, but I'm calling you to something else. And I remember this very, very explicitly. I went down and visited St. John Vianney Seminary. I've only experienced this feeling a couple times, and everything is not based off feelings, we know this, but I walked into St. John Vianney College Seminary. I walked into the chapel, I sat down, I started praying. And once again, that feeling of peace, that feeling of fulfillment came across me. And I knew that God wanted me there at the seminary. In order to go to the seminary, I had to give things up. I had to give up, my major in criminal justice. I gave up throwing the shot put at college. I even gave up my hair. That's right. My hair was out to here back then. I had to give that up. Why? Because, to go in the seminary, you can't have hair like this, I guess. I don't know. So I had to give that up. But why did I do this? Because I had the pearl of great price. And because I knew that God was calling me to go and do this. And I was content. I was fulfilled. It was an amazing thing. Once again, these past few weeks, we've had parables. What have the parables always said? Get rid of any distractions. Pull out those weeds. Get rid of those false gods and go to God and let Him be the one in charge. And my brothers and sisters, when we have that pearl of great price, when we finally find Him and encounter Him, which hopefully many of you have, and some of you probably haven't yet, so keep on that journey. But when we encounter Christ, then we must hold on to it. Then we must persevere, and I guarantee you will never be happier than when you are one with God. When you have this faith, when you have this relationship with our living God, then we will be content. Then we will be fulfilled. The grass will not be greener on the other side because we're already on the green side. We're with God. And because of this, we know that what? We know that we will be with Him now, hopefully on earth, yes, but more importantly, we will be with Him in heaven. As these parables have said, week after week after week. And this week we know as well. This week we know that when we go to God, that pearl of great price, the faith of God, then we place it in His bucket of heaven.